when I moved to Princeton, I planted a garden and started recording it from bud to bloom. I was fascinated with the details that engaged the eye. Then a dear friend of mine introduced me to the macro lens, and I was mesmerized by the depth of field and the lens's ability to get in close and discover an interior landscape. I loved the lines and the textures, the light and the shadow, and the new compositions they create. And with the macro lens, I could bring our eyes closer to the details, the whirl of a bud, the velvety texture of a petal, or the tendrils of a stamen. I love the lens's ability to pull your attention to what I want to be revealed. A few years ago, I saw Ingrid Fattel-Lee, author of the book Joyful, speak at Princeton University on the benefits of finding joy in our everyday life. Her research showed that pops of color, curving lines, symmetrical shapes, and green scenes in public spaces reduced stress, opened communication, lifted spirits, and boosted resiliency. Her Instagram posts are bursts of color and inspired me to capture my own images of joy as they appeared. Even if it took breaking the pace of a walk with a friend to stop and take a photo of something that caught my attention. Many of you on this Zoom can attest to this. It could be a blossoming peony, raindrops on petals, or petals uplifted in an arabesque. Research is showing that anxiety and depression can create a negative lens for everything in our life. So if there's something to change the conversation inside our brains, soften our self-talk, something joyful that can help shift the brain to positive, I hope to shift that lens with my lens. And knowing that there was a psychological benefit to these images, I started posting any bursts of color that caught my eye and brought me joy with the premise, if it brings me joy, I can perhaps offer joy to someone else by sharing it. Sharing joy amplifies it, and joy is resilience. Joy spotting and hashtag joy is resilience became familiar hashtags on my Instagram account. And to be honest, I think this is the first time I started thinking about my images in a purposeful way. In the last 2 years, that purpose went a step deeper. I've always been drawn to neuroscience and the study of the brain. Last year, I listened to a lecture at Princeton Neuroscience Institute, which studied the way a fly orients itself in darkness. In this experiment, a fly is hooked up to an EEG to measure its brain waves as it walks on a ball in a dark box. The scientists flash lights and watch how the fly orients itself based on where the light is. Now, mind you, much of the science was lost on me, but it got me to thinking, how can we find our way when there is no light, when things feel dark, and when we can't seem to find hope? And I immediately thought, what if that beautiful light is really within us? And if we can just find ways to access that light, we can find our way. I believe as humans, we are all born with this perfect light or perfect balls of light, full of possibilities and promise. And then life and experiences and our traumas start dimming that light. And if we are able to go in and shine light on the shadows and look at what is dimming us and holding us back, we can really start to heal. It's why I'm so thrilled to be on the walls here at TCS, an organization committed to helping its clients to heal by offering them the tools for managing personal discomfort, anxiety, depression, and stress. Tools to access the light within to find their way. It was a perfect match. Georgie put so much thought into creating calm, soothing environments in the new spaces of TCS. And she, Whitney, and I had such a great time selecting images as a complement to the thoughtful, serene design. Here we are testing the sizes for the plexi mounts, the images in production over at Taylor Photo, and deciding which rooms each image would hang in. There was Whitney. We were testing them all in front of each room. We chose Thistle for the kids as it's so magical and feels safe. We chose the opening of the allium to reflect possibilities, the spiral labyrinth calm of a begonia leaf, the wonder of white allium in full bloom, the beauty of a pod even, after it's lost its petals, the light beyond the precipice, the nurturing wash of the pink flower, and the unfolding of a landscape to explore for those in the waiting room to wander through as they wait. Research shows that even looking at nature in photos is relaxing and reduces anxiety. So in addition to supporting nature's healing, I hope these large-scale natural images in the therapy rooms and public spaces at TCS offer a reminder to draw on the light within to begin healing inner wounds. Personally, I'm no stranger to going inward and seeking that light myself. I've been on my own healing journey over the years and have discovered an incredibly supportive community, healing community that has helped to access that light. I've really appreciated all of the opportunities to pause and observe truths in my own life and to feel supported while moving through the unknown. And then along came COVID, and finding calm, quiet, safety, and space within ourselves became even more essential in these uncertain times. Getting out on a walk and photographing what was blooming really saved me in the early months. Looking through my camera lens provided that peace and pause for me, and the opportunity to be fully present and find safety within myself. It pulled me into my body and out of my head, and it was in those moments that I felt fully connected to myself and to something greater than myself. Poet Mary Oliver put it so beautifully in her interview with Krista Tippett on Being that aired last September. She expressed she had a courtship with writing, and if you turn up every day, it learns to trust you. It's a discipline that creates space for something quite mysterious to happen and makes room for something that is very deep within us. Little did I know that COVID and seeking to stay balanced would actually provide that daily discipline, and nature did not disappoint. I walked outdoors every day this spring and summer, and in addition to feeling lifted by the bounty of the gardens, I'd spot something blooming that I wanted to return to and capture with my camera. I'm sure my neighbors raised an eyebrow while watching me capture this ajuga while on my stomach standing on a curb. Thank goodness it was not a busy street. And even this weed and invasive ground cover is beautiful. Again, when I shared my images on social media, I received comments of how looking at my images helped calm some of my friends and followers in this uncertainty. So I made a point to go out every day to capture a moment that would calm, lift, or inspire. Mary recounted how some days she would write and throw out her poetry. And then there were days that nature spoke to her like a prayer, and her words were not of her, but flowed through her. This concept of showing up every day truly resonated with me as I look back on my experience last year, because there were days when I would start photographing a flower, like this daffodil, for instance, and then suddenly looking through the lens in that moment, in that stillness, magic appeared. And it helped me to trust myself and to trust something greater supporting me and guiding me. When I remained still, open, and present, it created a pause, a space for something miraculous to happen. It was like going into a room of light where you can breathe and feel safe. And in addition, while in that room, I was able to feel the energy of the plant, reminding me to be warrior strong, to be open, to have faith, to be patient, to be expansive, to lean back, to dream, to feel joy, to shine bright, to be ready to be bold, to embrace abundance, to be still, and to receive. And that there were little angels everywhere. So at a time when so many Americans are experiencing depression and anxiety, I hope my images provide a pause for others to also experience peace and presence and to unlock the light within. And that I hope that that opens them to the promise and potential that exists all around us. Nature unlocks the potential in all of us to heal. It inspires us to stand in our light, to just be and receive, and it reminds us to feel our own light in the darkness.